Hey friends, hope your week is going well. Thanks for sharing some time with me again on this third week of CBSST at home. This week we're talking about the check-it stage of taking unhelpful thoughts, the 3 C's, from being an unhelpful thought into changing it, catching it as an unhelpful thought or an inaccurate thought, toward changing it to something helpful and accurate that we are needing to hang on, needing to keep telling ourselves so that we stay well, stay motivated toward reaching those goals that we really want. Speaking of goals, how are you doing? How is it going with meeting together on the phone with your clients? Are you able to chat with them about CBSST skills? Are you able to identify some situations where those unpleasant feelings bring maybe unhelpful thoughts or inaccurate thoughts that can be worked through? Hey, I'd love to have some feedback from you. Shoot me a message or an email. It'd be nice to hear how it's going for you as staff and for those that you're working with day in and day out. Thanks for your faithfulness to the position we hold and to the people in our community who benefit from having us keep coming around. Thanks. And thanks again for being a class with me, even in this different sort of setting. It means a lot. It's very meaningful toward my accountability personally to know that you're out there and you don't mind giving a little time to watching some of the goofiness that happens in a video world. And just know that I would much rather us hash life together and grow and learn and practice these skills together in person. And I look forward, am hopeful to the day when we can return to that setting. And in the meantime, it's worth it to go through the little bit of awkwardness that comes with videoing yourself. Even though I believe in this, and I do believe in these sets of skills and want to work this through with you, and each of you guys, so many of you as staff have been through years of this as well and worked with many clients through these same skills. But thank you for sharing in this process with us together. On that note, I wanted to make a commercial for the WRAP program using a wellness toolbox. I found over the last couple days that it's starting to wear on me personally, that this is a long-standing, short-term situation. Yes, this too shall pass. All the differences that we need to make, all the changes we need to make in our daily life in order to honor the mandates out there toward social distancing and protecting ourselves and those around us from the germs that are out there. And it just hit me that I'm feeling weary in this, and I am sure I'm not alone in that, and I'm not dealing with the sickness aspect, and I'm grateful to have health in the midst of it. But certainly, as we're all navigating through these changes, there are times when we're going to feel more weary. So in having a box, something tangible that holds items that help me to remember I can be well and feel well in the midst of what wants to bring me down. And so what do I use? Well, I will share a few things with you. I use hugs. That's my penguin's name from my sister who lives some states away. Gave this to me a few Christmases ago, and I just hug it every so often because it reminds me that there is someone out there caring about me, though I cannot see her. And one of my favorite recipe magazines from Taste of Home that offers me some options to make something new or something that I don't make very often, to give me something different to think about. And that restores me to wellness. A special gift from a friend reminding me of my faith and I also have faith that we will get back together again. I miss you guys. And then some pictures and reminders of special events. So those are things in my toolbox. What would you put in yours? Or what do you have if you have a wellness toolbox? Those of us who've been through RAP together or brought people to RAP, attest, I'm sure, to the value of the wellness recovery action plans put in place that we can revisit over and over again. So that's the plug for RAP. But back to CBSST, we have caught unhelpful and or inaccurate thought. How do we check them? Well, first of all, if you do that window toward, do I need to change the thought? When we do it ourselves or maybe with our client, we're going to have empty spaces, not colored spaces, obviously. But the picture is to be clear unless the thought is helpful and accurate. And each person individually has to determine that. But it is helpful to talk through our thoughts with someone else to be able to be held accountable and to think through that process. Unless it's helpful and accurate, got to change it. So the process of changing it includes the check it stage, which we're going to have part 1 and part 2 of this. Part 1 includes the testing for truthfulness, testing for rationalness. That's what it is. Rationalness of our thoughts. The accuracy the testing part comes through experimentation, which is really fun, and we'll talk about that more next week. But may I again turn your attention to the W drive, where you can find in the CBSST folder the modules and worksheets. So this is the Check It session packet, and the last page is the at-home practice sheet, which can be very helpful to us for prompting verbally as we're either meeting with those high-need clients face-to-face or talking with someone on the phone or Skype to draw the attention toward thinking through the process of changing those unhelpful thoughts. That last page prompts us to identify the situation, identify the feelings, the actions of what do I do when I'm feeling that and this has happened. And then catching that particular thought. What was I thinking in this situation? What went through my mind, it says. Which thought best describes or explains how I was feeling, what I was doing. And that can help us find patterns as we're willing to kind of jot these things down or even just think through them verbally right now while we're in this time of not being able to meet specifically together and help one another. Okay, once we identify the situation and the thought, now we look at that thought for evidence. We are testing how rational is this thought that I'm having? What makes it true to me? And what comes against, what evidence against that thought being true can I find? So an example that I'm going to use is from my goal. My goal is to take my family on vacation with my husband, and we had a situation happen last week where I happened to look at my email, found an email from the college where our son is attending, now online from home, but they have to move out their stuff from the dorm, and the email simply was informing us that the date for moving out was going to be moved back from what it was going to be mid-April, now it's going to be mid-May. And I have to be honest, even though our vacation date right currently is set for July, that fleeting thought hit me right then. Oh, is this going to be pushed back so much that our vacation date is going to have to change? And we've already put down a deposit on those dates at the home that we're going to rent. Are we going to lose that deposit? How is this going to affect our plans? So for me, that was a catch moment. So I needed to identify the situation and recognize the action that I took is to understand, okay, been there, done that with the unhelpful thoughts. Doesn't mean I always respond appropriately and react the right way, whatever the right way is, depending on who's judging the right way. I can take a deep breath and talk myself out of being worried about that, because right now that's not what I need to deal with. However, even though my actions were to take that deep breath and work through my thought, I still had that unhelpful and or inaccurate thought. I might lose my deposit if we have to change the date. So immediately the prompting is to identify, what evidence do I have for that thought? Well, for me, two evidences came to mind. One, things are changing all around us, and I might need to change that date for vacation because all these other things are changing dates. And that's just a realistic feeling, and we're experiencing that all around us. The second thing is, early on in our plan making toward this vacation, we had identified, my husband and I had talked through a certain date that we were hopeful to use as our vacation dates. I will be honest, now I'm very grateful we didn't set that date early June. But I was disappointed, and we had to change the date because the house we were looking at wasn't available on the dates that we were choosing to go. So we had to change the date. So it happened in the past. Okay, what about my evidence against those? So now I know why I'm thinking the thought I'm thinking. What evidence can I find to help me refute that? Help me not support it as a true thought? Well, number one, I don't have enough evidence to say for absolutely beyond the shadow of a doubt, we have to change our date. We don't know that yet. And number two, I don't know that I'm going to lose my deposit because I haven't even done any research. I haven't even sought the house out as far as finding out what the policies are. And so I do have good reason to identify. It's helpful to me to remember things that ground me in my thinking. And so for us and our clients, we want to, as that team, we want to work through the unhelpful, possibly inaccurate thoughts, to be able to not only identify, hey, you're validated for why you're thinking what you're thinking. And for me to write this down shows me patterns of my thinking. Now, again, we're going to revisit all this. When we get back together, we're going to keep going through CBSST, but as we're touching on it now, as we're doing that, we're going to want to get these things down on paper to be able to later on keep hanging on that. And the other thing that I want to make a plug for is, the cards, and I have my CBSST folder. I apologize that I keep looking all around here, but I had my CBSST folder. I didn't mean to leave you. Yeah, thank you. CBSST binder. The cards, remember the cards? These are great. Maybe you and your client together can pull out your cards and talk through some of the reminders of the thought, feeling, behavior triangle, the jackpot goal, what are the 3 C's? Just fun reminders that can give us more to chat about when we're getting together, and to remember important aspects of the CBSST skills that we're hashing out together. So this is the first prompting toward that changing of that thought, checking that thought. Then the second one is the mistakes in thinking. And within your packet, obviously, are the definitions of all of the 6 that they identify as 6 common mistakes in thinking. I came up with some examples, one for each of the types of mistakes in thinking that might pertain to some of our thinking today, or some of the people that we serve, some thoughts. An all or nothing statement: I will never see my friends again. Mind reading, an example where I'm putting thoughts in someone else's head. One of the people I live near looked at me funny when I walked past him with my mask on. They think I look silly when I wear my mask. Well, that's not in my hula hoop to know what they actually are thinking when they're looking at me. So, that's a mistake in thinking. Fortune telling: I won't remember in the future. I won't remember my friends in class when we get back to meeting together. Let's check that thought. So anything in the future, fortune telling. Jumping to conclusions: on my walk to the store, I passed someone who I happened to see they had toilet paper in their bag. Now, when I get to the store, there's not going to be any toilet paper. Well, how do I know? I'm not at the store yet. I'm deciding what I know that I don't have evidence to back up. Jumping to conclusions. And then I could take it to the catastrophizing state. Because I can't get together with my friends, all my friends are going to hate me when we finally can get back together again. So I won't have any friends, and I'm going to be lonely forever. What's sad? Sometimes we do feel very isolated from those that we care about, and we need to stay connected any way we can. We need to keep sending each other encouragements through the email, through texts, through phone calls, so that we can keep supporting one another. But are these real thoughts? Yes. And I'm lonely. My sister's too busy for me. She always makes the phone go to voicemail when I call her. I am feeling lonely, so I'm deciding my sister is too busy for me. I haven't even talked to my sister yet, so I don't know that that's the case. Doesn't mean she doesn't care about me. So I want to check those thoughts. Thank you for hanging with me and walking this first part of the Check It session together, and next week we will move into the experimentation aspect of Check It and the conclusion of changing our thoughts to be more helpful and more accurate for us. Thanks for your time. Have a great week.